have been listed. Okay, so we now talk about the Newe because Newe has been in the news for quite a while, ever since the race for Anambra local government election started. And Newe has been in the news because in the Newe there is this jostle over who is going to contest for Newe mayorship. Of course, we know that there is somebody who is on the seat now, Honorable Nasado, who is from Umudim Newe. And in Anambra State, local government tenureship is just for 2 years. But now that their tenure is coming to an end, he and his supporters are saying that for the fact that he has served for just two years, that he needs to go for another term to make it 4 years, because in their own evaluation, um, in as much as Nnewi has this arrangement for rotation among all the quarters, but in their own estimation, anybody who is elected for any political office in Nnewi should be able to complete 4 years other than 2 years. But those who on the other side are saying that our agreement is that for any elected position, you are only going to serve for one term, whether it's for 2 years or for 4 years. So this very controversy has been raging, and yes, they will saw not less than two press releases coming from different quarters. Yesterday, there was one communique that came out from the Board of Trustees, Nzukora Newi, and in their resolution, they said they had a meeting with all the stakeholders. The meeting was held at the US Palace, and they agreed that the man who is on seat now should continue and do another term to make it 4 years. That after all, that somebody laid the precedent in. I mean, this is according to their own statement. But barely 2 hours after their communique dropped, we now saw another reaction coming from the member representing Newe North in Anambra State House of Assembly. I'm talking about what's that name we know him as? I'm trying to remember that his name. But Eke Doji. We know him as Honorable Augustine Onyekachuku. He also released a press statement saying that what the BOT or Fenzokora Newe released as a communique and as a resolution, that it was not based on anything. In fact, he said it contains some fallacies. And what they're saying is that the man who is on seat now, once his tenure expires, he should vacate so that power can rotate to and go to another quarter. That's what their stand has been. And they've been able to cite a document showing that this is what was agreed. I think as back as either 1997 or thereabout. So a lot has been happening in Newe, and I must tell you that there's no day you go on social media you won't see Newe politics on the card. And for me, just like a repetition of what happened at Ekusigo, that should be many years ago during the second term bid of Gonobiano. Then it was Polionyeka who was in the mix then, because he wanted to go for second tenor, and the Ekusigo people told him we had this arrangement that it should rotate among all the towns in Ekusigo, and it raged to the point that it was Polionyeka versus stakeholders of Ekusigo, and I know how the election ended. So let's see how this Newe one is going to end, whether Umudim will continue or Newe is going to take its due turn according to their arrangement for rotational elected position. Then just quickly, let me dash to Imo State. Yes, not Imo State, Ebonyi State. Yes, they talked about the first son of Ebonyi State governor who has been anointed to contest for chairmanship position in Ebonyi State for Hausa local government area. It's also in the news that the governor of Ebonyi State, Francis Nwifrey, has also anointed the brother of his wife to contest for the Ikwo local government chairmanship position, and two of them have acquired the nomination forms for 30 million. So let's see how it goes in that version, because everybody's talking about that 30 million that APC paid for each nomination form. They are saying it's quite unreasonable. They are wondering why a position like a chairmanship position should cost 130 million. But guess what? If you are going for chairmanship position, you have to cover 30 million. If you are going for councillorship, 150,000.
What is even worse is that it looks like it was spec for a reason.
Exactly.
To urge out some people and make it only attainable for a certain class of people. And the big question is, these class of people that this entire thing is being engineered for, can they really get to the grassroots? Because local government chairmanship is supposed to be about the grassroots. And with people, the way they are making this look, is this local government really going to be about the people? It's not enough that politics has become an elitist thing. Democracy is only for the elites. If you look at the way Nigeria's political trajectory is and the way that Nigerians are faring, but things as basic, not maybe not basic, but that are supposed to be closer to the people, they treat it like this. I fear for Nigeria's democracy and the future in the days to come. Dr. Tony Olisambeki is here as well. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Indanambara. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha Donidu. Good morning, Indosmo. Good morning, everyone. It's a very beautiful Wednesday morning, 21st day in the month of January in the year 2026, and it's one of the beautiful days. I'm aware very well that the National Chairman of All Progressives Grand Alliance, Chief Barrister Sly Okenwa, is celebrating his birthday today. So a warm birthday to him as well, because he has been a very great friend and also a family ally. But all the same, we are grateful to God Almighty for being here. We are grateful for His mercy. We are grateful for everything, and also politics, the way things turn around, and for us to comment on those things. It's one thing to see things happen. It's another thing to have opportunity to talk about those things and see how wisdom could change the turn of events. We are really in the sanctuary as usual to profess the truth, to speak truth to power. Yesterday, I know Franklin will be so happy when he saw Arsenal smashing Inter Milan by 3-1. There is no doubt. With that historic record of 7 straight wins in the Champions League for the first time, he doesn't want to talk about it, but I'm aware that he's elated, as you can see. I'm also aware that Chisom is also more busy with trying to make certain social media projections. As you can see, this match is beaming. That is the beauty of it, the harmony, the happiness. So we are going to look at different political developments, Newi, and a lot. The local government council, I think that's what is trending now in most places. The Malami saga, what do you call it, Malami Gate? The Wike, Fubara turn of events, and what is going on in. There's so much things to talk about. So you're welcome. So enjoy the program.
Alright, then we're going to start by telling you what the front pages of the papers say, and right after that, we dive into the conversation proper. In the desk this morning, there is The Nation, Vanguard, The Punch, and The Guardian newspapers. On The Nation newspaper, the banner headline here is Edu, federal government will rely less on borrowing to drive growth. The writer here will depend more on our own resources than on international institutions. Find that on page 2. What I discussed with Tinubu, this is by Kano State Governor on page 2. Court likely to seal government's acquisition of Hussaini's controversial UK house. On page 3, the writer here, no one has shown up to claim the house after interim forfeiture order. On page 5, death toll rises to 3 in Oshun NURTW crisis. On page 6, INEC okays campaign in Ekiti. On page this is page 8 now, if my eyes are not playing a trick. IG deploys squad to rescue 177 kidnapped in Kaduna. Nigeria produced 554.4 million barrels in 2025, says NUPRC. That story is on page 7. And on page 4, missing non-Nigerian Operal Benson in Liberia, says RF. On page 27, INEC declares readiness for FCT area council polls.
Okay, so let's look at the headlines we have on The Guardian. We'll begin with this one that says Electoral Act, gaps in e-transmission, vote buying, sanctions, spark call for reform. The story is on page 6 and is the big story on the front page of The Guardian newspaper. Then above the nameplate, you see, or rather below the nameplate, the Rivers Assembly Sean's Pandel Peace Panel over Fubara's impeachment. The story is on page 3 of The Guardian. FG employers may clash over planned increase in employee compensation levy. The story is on page 5. PDP chair meets ex-VP Sambo, says tickets open to Jonathan orders. Page 2. And just a detour. Yesterday, court struck out a suit that was filed by Asemela Anyanwu when he was fighting for him to be recognized as PDP chairman, and it was Anyanwu himself who told court that the suit had become a mere academic exercise because events had already taken over that very suit because his tenure had expired. So now that the tenure has expired, I don't know whether they're going to sheath their sword or if they're going to continue to fight for the soul of the PDP. Then this headline says court orders INEC to recognize, publish ADC's list for FCT council elections. The story is on page 30. And the headline says Lagos to divert traffic as repairs resume on Lekki Expressway. Check page 7. Sanwo-Olu executively bicker over Makoko demolition, alleged operation. The story is on page 7. Davos, Nigeria pitches fiscal discipline as EU leaders condemn Trump's new colonialism. The story is on page 6. I don't know what is actually pushing Trump because he's been talking about Greenland, that he must annex Greenland despite the fact that all his European allies are kicking against it. Presidency accuses IPOB of peddling Christian genocide propaganda. The story is on page 29. Trial of driver in death of Anthony Joshua's friends adjourned till February 2025. The story is on page 9. And yesterday, I saw the family of Anthony Joshua questioning the trial of that very driver. Because for me, I was asking myself why federal government was quick to file a suit against the very driver for reckless driving and not possessing driver's license, whereas we know that almost on a daily basis we have cases of road accidents and nobody bothers to take anybody to court. But because Anthony Joshua is an international figure, and they want to project to the world that they care, or that I don't know what Nigeria was trying to or is trying to achieve with this. Then another headline we have on the Guardian says FCT worker strike continues as union faults government compliance claim. The story is on page 30, and that's the last headline we have on the front page of the Guardian this morning.
Okay, then let's go to the front page of the Punch, and some of the stories you'd find here. Include the banner headline being alleged terror financing. Malami faces long detention as DSS intensifies investigation. On page 2, secret police signal tough stance. Prepare court action to detain ex-AGF father's terror financing case unfolds. Domestic refiners move to cut petrol imports on page 21. Nigerians spent 1.54 trillion naira on beer orders in 9 months on page 29 or page 22. The FCC quizzes Benue officials over alleged 4.6 billion naira fraud on page 14. DSS free Ogun pastor associates after public outcry on pages 4 and 5. Businesswoman Achimugu kicks as EFCC seek $13 million forfeiture on page 3. Nigeria's ECOWAS exports fall 13% after Sahel states exit on page 2. States hosting IDPs $12 million World Bank loan on page 21. 5 soldiers, policeman killed in Zamfara ambush on page 3. FG doubles January bond borrowing to 900 billion naira on page 22.
Okay, so over to the Vanguard newspaper, and the big headline here says Kaduna names of 177 abducted worshippers revealed. The story is on page 5, and you will see a list of 40 persons listed on the front page of this very paper, and that can be found on page 35 of this very newspaper. Then there are riders attached to the story, and the riders include 177 abducted, 11 escaped. CWN Group reveals. Police situation report confirms abduction. Attack occurred 1 week after 2.6 million naira ransom was paid for release of some villagers. Sources. Right group accuses security agents of blocking access. Abduction horrific, says U.S. lawmakers. More. Another unfortunate incident will be these are the ones to react, and then you can now see why we insist attack happened. Hayab, Northern Can chairman. The story is on page 34 of Bangladesh paper. Then over to page 9. PDP crisis, court dismisses Anyanwu's case against INEC, Damagun others. Also on page 9, Davos, FG targets less borrowing, more investment. Waledun, of course, he's in Switzerland where they're having a World Summit. That's where he made that very statement. So, what is now left is let's see whether government will be able to do this or just speaking because they're out there at the global scene. Nigerians spend 1.73 billion naira on foreign education, health in 6 months. The story is on page 19. Of course, it should be to that very level because most of our big men, their medicals had turned outside the country. Impeachment. Assembly shows panel peace panel in Rivers. Check page 12 of Vanguard newspaper. And fire raises commercial building in the Ikeja Computer Village. The story is on page 7. And the last headline says FG OPS on collision course over NSITF levy hike. The story is on page 8. And that brings to an end the headlines we have this very morning on the front pages of the 4 newspapers we brought your way.
And so we're starting with the headline on the Vanguard newspaper, speaking about the names of the 177 abducted worshippers being reviewed. And we are learning that this kidnap happened across 3 different churches: an Equa church, a Cherubim and Seraphim church, 2 different Cherubim and Seraphim churches, and at the Kurmin Wali community in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State on Sunday. The list paints a harrowing picture of entire families taken away from their homes and places of worship, leaving the community traumatized and virtually empty of able-bodied residents. The raid came barely a week after the same community paid 2.6 million naira ransom to secure the release of 20 residents previously abducted. So communities are now paying ransom. We also understand the states are negotiating, Kaduna State being one of them. While government and security operatives denied the incident, a police situation report obtained by Vanguard confirmed that the attack occurred during church services. According to the reports, the information was received around 5:45 p.m. on Sunday, and today is Wednesday. So it took Monday and Tuesday for the police to have a thorough investigation to confirm that this eventually happened. And I'm just wondering how much longer it's going to take for these people to be rescued. And of course, we understand it happened around 11:25 a.m. when these men struck the churches, firing sporadically and forcing worshippers to flee into the surrounding forests. And so, Tony, among all the critical questions that exist that would, perk the minds of every well-thinking Nigerian is understanding the rationale behind the denial in the first place. The police on one hand, and then the state government on the other hand. Especially where we're supposed to have local government, we have the councillors, we have the local government chairman. How disconnected would a government be to deny something like this over 48 hours after it happened?
It is very, very repugnant, very abhorrent, nauseating, quite odious, contemptible, and in fact execrable for such denial. How can one best describe such ignominiable and offensive disposition of those we have entrusted with the mandate of protecting the lives of Nigerians? Yesterday, I did say something when these denials were flying everywhere. Police did not in any way display professionalism. You don't play politics with everything. Yes, we know very well that for you to be at certain leadership positions in the Nigerian police is by politics that these appointments are made. And when these appointments are made, those who are appointed should always discern and find a balance between politics and professionalism. You are going to live after your police work. There was an allegation of incident. Whenever there is an allegation, every professional body will tell you, let's do investigation. And I said yesterday, you don't just come and say you have reported to the site, you've been to those places where these incidents were said to have occurred, that we can authoritatively confirm that nothing happened. It was so hasty. And you understand the undercurrent, you understand the subterfuge. You are just playing politics. A professional body, we know very well that institutions in this country are very corrupt. But you can't just rub that thing on your face and move around everywhere. So what becomes of your image? Yesterday you denied it. Today the fourth estate of Rem went far as much as digging deep. And that's more reason why we'll keep speaking truth to power. And I've just said it many times. It is quite loathsome. We cannot continue this way. Government has not been able to build its image to the level that whatever it says, people will trust it. It's very discerning, quite lugubrious. And we saw this yesterday. And how can you all of a sudden think that the Christian Association of Nigeria, I don't know if they're a branch of any political party, or could it be that the opposition has gone on to say whatever they will say, or because of the $9 million paid to the lobbyist company in the United States of America to launder our image so that it will not look as if there are persecutions of Christians. And we said, here, Christians are persecuted, there's no doubt about it. But we can also admit that Muslims are also killed as well. When we discussed this extensively yesterday, I did say that Evangelical Church winning all, ECWA, Cherubim and Seraphim, and the Catholic Church, they were all mentioned in that very attacks. They confirmed that these attackers blocked entrances, fired shots to create panic, forced worshippers out, and abducted them into nearby bushes. And we said, and I also admit that it fits a pattern of mass abductions for ransom we've seen, we've witnessed. And the question of whether it was an allegation or not surfaced. So it is very important that we should stop living in denial. We have battered our image so much to the point that nobody may find it worthy to believe whatever comes out of us. If we look at Reverend Joseph John Hayab, Can Norton chairman, he was the one that said about 172 worshippers initially we abducted, that 9 escaped shortly, leaving about 163 in captivity. And he went further to cite information from church elders and local CAN officials in Kajuru local government area. And we also said that international news outlets like Router, BBC, DWAP, Sky News, they all reported this incident based on these accounts by Christian Association of Nigeria. But all of a sudden, Muhammad Rabiu called it falsehood. The Commissioner of Police, Kaduna State. And he said that it was a falsehood spread by conflict entrepreneurs. And now we have known that those referred as conflict entrepreneurs, that they were aiming to destabilize and undermine recent peace gained in that area, Kajuru. Even the Kajuru local government chairman, Dauda Madaki, joined the fray. Commissioner for Internal Security, Sule Chayubu, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, echoed the same sentiment. And he went further to say that religious leaders were consulted and they confirmed that no such incident happened. You must come out and tell us those religious leaders you consulted. You must play politics with everything. It's very, very disgraceful, very shameful that we cannot at least speak the truth. It's very, very annoying.
when we're talking about the denial made by the Kaduna State government and the police, in fact, what was striking was three persons made the denial, and those three persons they were on one side: Commissioner for Police in Kaduna State, Commissioner for Security Affairs in Kaduna State, and then local government chairman in Kajuru. They were on one side, and they said, from what the police said that they went to the place and they did some verifications, and they couldn't confirm that people were kidnapped. Now, I just want to pick a spot from the statement which was released by the Nigerian Police Force, because this time around, yesterday, it was Kaduna Police Command that was speaking, but later in the night, that was last night, the Nigerian Police Force now issued a statement which was signed by Benjamin Hundeyin, who is the spokesperson for Nigerian Police Force, and he said something which I'm just going to pick as something. He said, subsequent verification from operational units and intelligence sources has confirmed that the incident did occur. And he said the Nigerian Police Force therefore activated coordinated security operations, working closely with other security agencies with a clear focus on locating and safely rescuing the victims and restoring calm to the area. So I'm trying to find out what actually did the police now do differently to be able to confirm, because 170 persons, no be 7 persons. You know, the number is staggering. There were
doubts.
There are doubts. But to talk about 170 persons, and police said they went and verified the first time, people told them that don't happen. So police is now saying that they did verification, confirmed from sources. So what could have police done differently to have now come to term that people were kidnapped? Or does it mean that in the first instance, police was doing a hatchet job, perhaps to douse the tension, perhaps to play the narrative that Christians were being targeted in Nigeria? The second one is, with what is playing out now, what can we say is the value of human life in the country?
I think what could have happened why the sudden U-turn could have been that the police may have asked government, what do we do? Do we go on to admit it, or do we go on to say no, that we've been able to dig out that this incident happened? Possibly they will be asked to handle it the best way they could handle it. That could be the possible thing that maybe had happened. It was an attempt to sweep it under the carpet. Nobody would tell me that there was no trace of such incident. It happened. There was an attempt to sweep it under the carpet. We know very well that government has done as much as it can, which is for us not good enough to stem this tide of Christian persecution, knowing fully well that there is need to deny it or try to repent it the way it will not suit the narratives of those who have been saying a number of things, calling for Trump invasion. I know. The point remains that it is a classical case of how institutions handle certain things in this country. It's a classical example.
So
it's a classical. That's how they do.
How does this place us before the international community? Because yesterday when we were talking about this thing yesterday, I made reference to the call I received from South Africa, a journalist in South Africa, asking for this story because it caught their attention and they want to talk about it. That means that it's not within Nigeria; it's already out there. So for Nigeria that is trying to persuade America to let America know that there's nothing like Christian persecution, and we now have a story of such kidnappings, and police denied it, government denied it, only to make a U-turn less than 24 hours. So how does this now put us out there in the global community?
It has shattered any remnant of trust, if at all we have one. That is what it has done. Before now, remember, we've been making a case for American government to believe the side of story of Nigerian government, especially when it comes to Christian genocide. And there was this attempt to paint it right. Yes, lobbyists were paid $9 million, but at times there are things you should also admit and position yourself as working fervently to see to an end of such development which you must demonstrate in every way that you never sanctioned it. Look at Kaduna State government, a corporate. Please look at the mess. Do we have institutions at all? Remember, the welfare and security of the people remains the primary responsibility of government. Where such security is hampered with abduction of people, the least government could do is to just come out and deny it never happened, so that you become a working government, you become a government that loves the people. No. State the obvious. The last time we checked, we are told that Kaduna State government paid some people off. Ubasani was in the news. I remember El Rufai did say that some amounts were given to bandits, because he was telling every ear that cares to listen that there is peace in Kaduna, that Kaduna has witnessed unprecedented peace, and in fact Khan also confirmed it, that he had brought in certain models, that these models seems to be working. He has been able to give every side, every religious organization some sense of belonging. But why he was doing that, the governor of Kaduna State, El Rufai, who has turned out to become his political foe, they were once allies, and told us that he paid these people. As I did, El Rufai did say that there was a time he paid these bandits, that he paid them off, that they came from Libya, they came from Mali, or wherever they came from.
Unfortunately, paying them off is like postponing doomsday.
That's exactly have we not said
the next
something?
operation. And
now those who they have paid off, the money they paid them off with, the money has dried up. They need ammunition, they need to refuel. So that's why they came out again. And they would ask for money.
Again, I've been imagining a lot in my head. These 170 persons that were kidnapped, these bandits, how do they move them into the bush? And I mean, do they do that in batches, or they just move them as a group and they will just go in the bush
unhindered,
traverse different places, and nobody will be able to pinpoint that there is heavy movement going on somewhere?
I think you asked a very important question. How did they move these people? Remember, we've seen abductions, we have seen kidnappings, we have seen mass kidnappings, and we've asked the same question. How did they move these people? Did they put these people in a truck, in a van, on motorcycle? We've asked these questions. And how they have done this without resistance? I remember the last time we talked about similar incident, and we were able to cite the nearest police station and also state out the kilometers away from the place of incident and the police station. The truth remains that the local government in view, honestly speaking, the Kajuru local government is about 2,000. That local government alone is about 2,465 something square kilometer. That local government is half of Anambra State. A particular local government, this local government where this incident happened, is roughly half of Anambra State. And the truth remains that it has been in existence. So I think I don't know. I don't want to go deep into the history about the local government. I know that it was one of the local governments established in 1997 during the time of Sani Abacha. So if you look at the region in view, it implies that these people were moved into a waiting vehicle, conveyed out of that very place, and they traveled to no man's land, because nobody can say where these people are now as we speak now. And the next will be, there will be wait to see if these abductors will establish contact. Once they establish contact using phones of these abductees, or those who they have abducted, you find out that there will be arrangements. And all the time we've heard about the abductees, the captives being released, we have asked the same question: what happened to the abductors? Those who abducted them, were they arrested? Did anybody arrest them? And we have not been given any meaningful answer. You ask the question: how could these people have been moved? Look at the number, very massive number. And your guess is as good as mine. They were moved. Maybe there could be a waiting vehicle in Kaduna State where the governor prides himself that he has done so much in the area of security. In fact, at a point, he went on to make some bold statements that security has returned in that very state. What are we saying? And only for you to come and deny. So you find out that paying this off is not an answer to insecurity in Kaduna State. We have asked before that we must bring security to this local government. Look at this Kajura local government we are talking about. If they have local security, local police, the police that is always stationed in that very local government, stationed in most communities, do you think this would have happened? When we talk about state government police, local government police, town police, people do not understand the implication. And now we have seen that if actually these were in place, these people will face stiff resistance. But government hasn't shown some kind of... I know why these things are the way they are. Possibly everybody's waiting. Let 2027 come. You won't hear about this. There will never be any of this discussion after 2027 general election. Because every politician now is talking about 2027. What is paramount in their minds as we speak now is 2027. How to come back and continue either the looting or the service delivery. So that's what many of them are thinking about. So some of these things that we bring about security of lives and property, they are not concerned about it. As we speak right now, that topic is forgone until after 2027. Maybe it will come back again. So it's a very disturbing...
Let's talk about rescue strategy, Tony, as we round off this conversation, because we really need to go on a break now. With the denials coming, have you seen any moves made to rescue these people? And of course, any connection yet, any contact from the persons who did this? Have they even owned up to it? Have we had any group on this?
For now, I don't think there's any report of such. There's no such report. Just like I said earlier on, the next move will be where the captives, their names have been made public. So there will be this wait to see if they would use the phones of these captives to make contact. Because what these kidnappers do, once they kidnap somebody, they don't use their phone to make contact. They use the phone of those kidnapped to call their relatives, to call their family members. And they always transact whatever through using that phone, because you cannot get any trace of them. But we've said it many times, there are many technologies that can be deployed to track some of these developments. And we've said it many times that even the GPS and some other technologies we've been able to highlight on this very show can be used to track these kidnappers. But I doubt why we are not making use of some of these things. So let's see how it goes, because I know very well that that very local government is also sharing border with Zangon Kataf, which has also had its own share of some of these anomalies, kidnappings. Even Kauru local government, even Chinkom local government. This local government is also border to Chinkom, and even Igabi. So it could also be that they may have taken these people out of that very local government and moved them to neighboring local government. It could be Kachia, it could be Zangon Katav, it could be Kaura, it could be Chinkom, it could be any of these local governments, and then move out of the state, even if possible. So what will be the next line of action will be where the family members will be asked to keep vigilance to see if these people can use phones of their kidnapped relatives to make contact with them. And from there, it will follow. And normally what I've seen, I've observed, I'm not saying it that is verifiable. No, I'm not saying it with every level of authority. But I've observed a pattern that once such contact is established, there will be arrangement for ransom. And once that ransom is paid, these people will be released. And next we hear is that they have all been released. Nobody will tell us what went through the tunnel. So that is just a classical case. But the truth remains that the government and the police and other, they should find a way to build their image, not by paying lobbyists. You can't pay lobbyists to launder what has been damaged. It is by taking certain step, action, being accountable to the people, demonstrating trust. These are ways to build these things. At least people will see it happening before their eyes. I wonder what lobbyists will do.
All right, then we need to take a break now, attend to a commercial. Once we come back, we take a look at what is happening in Makoko. There was what I call bickering between Ezekwesili and the governor of Lagos State yesterday. It's oppression being talked about, but we look at the real thing on that matter. Keep it locked.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Measles and rubella are deadly diseases. They spread fast, can cause blindness, brain damage, miscarriage, and sometimes death.
Every day, Nigerian children are at risk. But there is good news. The Saints can protect your child. The Anambra State government will conduct a mass vaccination campaign for children 0 to 14 years from 4th to 15th February 2026 to protect children across the state from deadly diseases. Take your child 9 months to 14 years for the measles rubella vaccine today. Complete all routine immunization doses from birth. After the campaign, routine vaccination continues in all health facilities. Vaccines are safe, effective, and paid for by the government. Don't wait. Visit your nearest health facility or vaccination site. Leave no child behind. This message is brought to you by the Anambra State government and partners.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
And so, conversations are still on concerning that demolition that happened in Makoko. And of course, a lot of demolition have been going on in different parts of the country. But that of Lagos State has always been sort of, would I say, seen differently. Probably because of the, would I say, the businesses and the people connected to them. All right. And so, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has defended that demolition in Makoko. According to him, it is a necessary urban renewal and safety measure, especially where the buildings involved pose risks near high tension lines. The governor also accused NGOs of profiteering from the criticism by attracting donor funds without delivering meaningful support. Now, on the other hand, former federal minister and activist Obi Ezekwesili has criticized the demolition, calling them state-sanctioned oppression and class cleansing. Tony, what do you think, judging by the fact that these buildings being demolished pose a risk not just to the persons inhabiting, or using those structures, but to the environment, everybody involved? I mean, having buildings under near high tension lines is a very risky thing to do. I understand that people take all the risk every time as long as they survive, but looking at how it is being done, especially in terms of the persons being impacted, speaking about 10,000 people or more being displaced, we have about 3,000 homes in the area that was demolished, Tony.
Well, we must look at the intent and then other demolitions, because I've seen demolitions and why people are making these statements they're making. It could be as a result of other demolitions in the past, but when government tells you that there is urban renewal movement going on and nobody will tell government not to do urban renewal, it's a good thing. If you look at the recent demolition in Makoko, which began sometime around December 2010, because that's when it started, and it has continued into January 2026, targeting the waterfront sections of the community, I know that the governor has justified the action as a safety measure to clear a 30 to 100 meter setback from high tension power lines running through the area near the Third Mainland Bridge, aiming to prevent potential tragedies like electrocution or fire. But we've seen the operation which involved bulldozers, amphibious excavators, armed security personnel, and the use of tear gas to disperse residents. We looked at the displacement this has caused. There have been different estimations about this displacement. There are sources that claim that about 5,000 people are affected, while some NGO reports have it that between about 10,000 to 30,000 people are left homeless, with many sleeping in canoes, crowding into remaining structures. In fact, there is this report that indicated that about 3 to 4 persons have died as a result of this, including 2 infants and a 70-year-old woman, which they attributed their deaths to tear gas exposure and also related distress. I'm aware that the demolition paused briefly on Christmas Day, but resumed aggressively in the new year, destroying homes, schools, clinics, livelihoods. As today, I don't know about yesterday, as we speak today, about half of the waterfront structures have been razed, exacerbating a humanitarian crisis amid the country's economic challenges. But this is not the first time demolition in Makoko. This is not the first time. There was a major demolition around 2012 under Governor Babatunde Fashola, and that demolition displaced thousands without compensation, and it drew international condemnation. But under Sanwo, I'm aware that this Makoko demolition is part of broader wave of slum clearance in Lagos. That's what they call it. They say it's slum clearance, urban renewal, safety enforcement, flood prevention. But we are looking at when these things are done, they are sold to real estate developers. Even look at 2025 as a year in view. 2025 alone, Lagos saw aggressive demolitions across waterfronts, low-income areas, displacing tens of thousands with minimal notice and sometimes in defiance of court orders. I'm aware, if you go by some demolitions we've seen, there was a one in late 2025, Oworonchoki. There was a demolition in Oworonchoki, and in that area, I think there is a long bridge corridor. There was also demolition somewhere around Okonagbon. There was a demolition in Ileja waterfront, Ayetoro, Okobaba, but that one was at sometime around September 2024 or thereabouts. So there have been historical demolitions. Even Otodobame, remember that one in 2017 that displaced over 30 people? Remember the Badia estate? So the key thing is, in all of these demolitions, what has government done as a way to resettle these people in a way of compensation? Is a settlement. That place is a settlement.
You've been able to highlight why Lagos State government is doing this demolition. They said this for urban renewal. They also want to ensure that people do not live under high tension lines, which could pose a safety risk. Now, that has been noted that on one side, one can say that it's a genuine concern of the government to do such. But where the concerns are on one, the humanitarian crisis that could be created, which you have already highlighted. And second one is that they are saying that there was no much consultation on resettlement and what have you, not even compensation before government began this whole thing. Now, if you look at the likes of Obias Ekwesili, why she came into this very discussion is because of the fact that they believe that government is now doing beyond the assurances government gave. According to Ekwesili, government had assured that the structures that were going to be demolished would be the ones within 30 to 50 meter safety corridor from high tension power lines. According to her, this was the assurance that government gave, that it won't be total demolition. But as it stands now, they have seen that demolition has even extended beyond the agreed limit, that they are now reaching about 270 to 520 meters from power lines. And for now, they are now seeing more homes being engulfed, schools being demolished, clinics, livelihoods, and what have you not. Now, where I want us to go to now is the issue of crisis management. Because if you look at what government has said, government said that they have plans for compensation, they have plans for palliative, they have plans for support, they have plans for stipend, and even plans for relocation. Now, I've been asking myself, in a society where we think about humanity, we think about lives, we think about the welfare of the people, if government has a unique concern about a settlement and plans to develop the area and plans to resettle, do you go to demolish first before the settlement, or you plan the resettlement before you demolish, so that once you demolish, people will be able to relocate? So what do you say about the way we manage crisis, and what should be the proper thing to do in situations like this?
And I think the Lagos state government, no matter how good their intention could be, the way they are going about it may not really be the best way. Remember, Makoko is a large informal settlement and fishing community in Lagos. Many people do call that very area Venice of Africa, due to its network of waterways, canoes, stilt houses built over the Lagos lagoons. And remember, that very area is the Yaba area of Lagos mainland local government area, along the third mainland bridge, the longest bridge in Africa connecting Lagos Island to mainland. And the community with over 300,000 residents, primarily feature folk from a good, and that's, when we are growing up, remember, there are 3 slum areas we usually call each time we want to talk about slums in Nigeria: Makoko, Okpoko. That's when you talk about Okpoko, you talk about Okpoko in Anambra State. Then Makoko, that is in Lagos State, and the other one where the Choki, Ajegunle. We've seen these areas, and over time, because why Makoko area is quite distinct is because structures are erected on waterways, and is 90% water lines everywhere. I have seen some documentaries about that area, and there are people that would not want to leave that very area. There are people who have made it big in life.
So to what extent is it the responsibility of the government to lift the people out of there, as against telling them to move to where?
And that's the point. The welfare, remember, the security and welfare of the people shall be paramount to government, and it's their primary responsibility. Government is talking about safety. That's what government is talking about, safety, and at the same time trying to enforce urban renewal. Well, you can't talk about safety where you leave people vulnerable. People who stay there, we know very well, many of them are poverty stricken.
Obviously.
That's from the look of things. And if you look around, they live in makeshift structures, not even a house. Something constructed with woods, and we know the danger involved. And that area has not been giving Lagos a good name, a good image.
I understand that every state would want to do something about places like that.
But look at what happened in Okpoko. The government of Anambra State decided to do something different.
Sorry, to
But
butt
one
in there,
thing
Tony.
that, just like I said, Oboko, you wouldn't say that it is littered with water everywhere.
Exactly.
But
Okoko is not waterlogged.
it's not-
Makoko is waterlogged.
But Makoko is more or less water. Now, there is need for resettlement.
And again,
That
Tony,
is what government should be talking about. Resettling these people.
exactly. That's why I asked you to what extent it is a government responsibility to do that. Now also, I need to bring something up here. This is not the first time that we have had issues like this about Makoko. All right, people just leave, and the government doesn't go ahead to fix that place. What do you have? Give it a period of time. Another set of people will move in. So it is garbage in, garbage out. What is happening with fixing that place once and for all? You mentioned Okpoko. Look at it now. Okpoko now wouldn't house certain kind of structures anymore, because where will you build it? You feel me? So at the end of the day, the government of Lagos State is leaving, would I say, that space vulnerable for these encumbrances. And again, I ask, for how long?
It's important that we must show trust. Remember, people do not trust government, their intent, and there have been cases where these demolitions happened. Real estate developers will move in, and there will be business as usual, and people who are displaced are displaced. When you bring down primary schools, when you bring down secondary schools, and these are schools these people can afford, are you gonna give them another school? Are you gonna give them another clinic? Demolish all these things. I'm not saying it is always good to develop an area. That area is an eyesore, honestly speaking, and every government with good intent will try to develop that area. But in doing that, what we are saying is resettle these people first. There are places they can be resettled. There are places they can be resettled. The money that government use for irrelevant things, even the Owambe money, can be used to resettle these people. Let them have the kind of life they will be at least be happy with. But
I was talking about managing this bureaucracy because I don't know how long we're going to do the same thing again to learn. In 2005, there was a demolition in Makoko by Lagos State government. In 2012, the same happened, and I think the one that happened in 2012, people also died in that was 2012, and in 2026, the same thing is happening. So how does the government think that once they go in, demolish these very structures and disappear, that these people will not come back to erect those things again?
It's not how does the government, because that's what has been happening over these
So
years.
that's why I'm asking, if government genuinely cares about these very people and they want to renew that very area, why does government first of all begin the issue of resettlement, go somewhere and do things for them, then ask them to move? Because for me, I believe that that's the proper way to go. Let me give you an instance. I know, let's use market for instance in Anambra State. There are some markets that have been located, and before people trading in a particular area were asked to leave where they are trading, somewhere has been built, and they were not told, move to where you now have a new location. In that very case, anybody who fails to leave, you now have every foot in foundation to enforce whatever you have put in place. But whereby government goes in all the time, pulls down this very structure, disappears in the space of 1 month, 2 months, people have put up all those things again, and he come back again and do the same thing. So how long would it take government to learn that this style is not working? So what do we do differently to be able to? Because I believe that given the nature of Makoko, there is no way this government of Lagos State will be able to reach out to some international organizations, some NGOs, and talk about the kind of plans they have for a relocation, that they will not be able to get support to do this. If funds is the issue, I believe that there's a way they can get into partnership and be able to get some money to do this, even if in phases. It might not happen at this rate, but they should be able to have a plan on how to deal with this once and for all.
You have said it, and I will also add to what you just said. Government of Lagos State has borrowed extensively. A government that has a budget of about 4 something trillion, or if you go by the budget of 2026 proposal, and we are talking about a group of people, and if you look at the population, about 300,000 people, if care is not taken, and these are voters. During election, this may not have come. During election, if election is nearing, they will not do this. During elections, they will be interested in the votes of these people, so their vote makes so much meaning to them. But after the election cycle, they have forgotten, they are abandoned. Why should Makoko area, that area, the way it looks, why would it be existing in Lagos? Can't Lagos look at other capitals of the or former capitals of different countries of the world? Can't they just look at it? Why would Makoko area, Ajegunle area, even when we know Ajegunle, there are some plans, there are some areas that are looking good now, but we must think of future. Government can resettle people in that area, develop that area entirely. That area, because we know there is Lagos, and even the lagoons, they are so dirty, smelly. These lagoons, and there are a lot of both waterborne disease, a lot of the things that can be contracted as a result of these lagoons that are not even treated.
Because at the end of the day, it might boil down to the fact that what government is doing is to, get more areas, then sanitize some places, and liaise with property owners and sell. It might end up this very way.
It may, and we've seen in the past where these displacements, people are not resettled. If you look at those who are there, many of them are not from Lagos. Some of them are from different parts of the country, even from Southeast here, but they choose to live there because everybody's looking for greener pasture. And it is one of these areas where I don't know what the rent could be. A rent there could be 2,000 naira per room, because the structures are wooden structures, and they defecate. They defecate inside the lagoon. That's the toilet. They urinate there, they eat there, they breathe there. If government has a genuine intention, there's no need. That place needs to be developed, and in doing so, there are measures you have to take. You must demonstrate strong intent, and by fact, there are places these people can be resettled. I don't know, many of them, those in IDP camps are better than them. Those in refugee camps are better than them. But many of them have found happiness. And one would ask, why would someone find happiness in such a place? But for them, that's what life has made them to feel. The past demolitions we've had, the one of 2012 and other ones we've had, and other places, some of these things, it had always been a business as usual. It's a business, get these people off, then take over some areas, sell those areas, make money. You don't care about 20 people where they end up with. That is not the kind of government anyone would wish. It's not.
All right then, let's quickly round off this conversation before we go on this commercial break by taking a look at Malami's new ordeal. We understand the DSS arrested him immediately after he was released. Tony, what do you make of all of the things that this man is going through?
He has not seen anything. He hasn't seen anything. There's this. No, he hasn't seen anything.
Tony!
He hasn't seen anything. When we are telling him that power is transient, that you're in power today does not mean you remain in power forever. Power is transient. I don't want to situate his ordeal to anything, because there are those who are posting on social media. Was he not the one that went and picking them the kind of somewhere in Kenya and abducted him and all that? No, I'm not situating it that. But I'm looking at it from the angle that he was never in the first instance fit for that office. Buhari put him there through poison. That's why he became attorney. Upon all the sons we've got in this country, how sound so many of them are with those who have integrity. The least is Malami. Was he not the one that spearheaded the abduction of judges? They are the early period of Buhari's regime. We saw where judges' home were raided. Somebody instigated that, and that was how fear was infused in judges, and that's why some judgments we've been seeing since then. These judgments have been, in fact, they have been what they have been. Was he not the one who was instrumental using ex parte order to remove Chief Justice of Nigeria? What was he looking for? He was trying to silence everybody so that he could go on and amaze unimaginable wealth, stupendous wealth. He went as far as marrying president's daughter to cement his closeness to the Mr. President. You can imagine he planned everything strategically, but luck has run out of him. He hasn't seen anything. I don't want to say he's corrupt or not, because from the look of things, he is. It appears that he is, but it's left for the court to pronounce him. The truth remains that in our local parlance, he has not seen anything. Emefiele, I think both of them work together. We saw how Emefiele also amazed stupendous wealth. We saw estates with over 600 houses. You can imagine how these people loot the treasury dry. So far, 57 properties have been forfeited on interim basis by the court. 57. And there are more because he must have overseen properties as well. So if you look at it, you ask, what those arms, what were they doing in KB home? What for? Because the next will be issue of terrorism financing. You were prosecuting someone for treasonable felony and terrorism, and you had catch of arms in your home. Doing what? He hasn't seen anything. This could be political, no doubt, but we'll get to the root, because this guy offended our sensibility in different ways. How many of us and many people who have doubts in court, he instrumented that through his instrumentality. He abused that office, so he hasn't seen anything.
Okay, let me just add this quickly, because what I have always maintained is this: if you find yourself in political office, or in fact in any office, your motive should be, let me make it better than I met it, so that tomorrow posterity will smile on you. Because I do tell people that, we can na ga n'ụzọ na iPhone 2 ka ọ ntụrụ ụzọ inye ya ohi ya ịmafee ya gafelu. After all, no mamagi ni na afụ ụzọ igafelu. We can bata bapụta ọma gị or nwa gị pụta ọma gị. So what am I saying in a sense is, Malami had a chance to elevate rule of law as our chief law officer in the country. He failed to. Now everything happening to him now happened under him. That's why people have not taken him serious, or people have not been able to find a way to sympathize with what is happening to him, because under him he supervised virtually what is happening to him now. Guess what? When this started, almost on daily basis, they were posting statements on his Facebook page, almost on daily basis. In fact, even this very arrest by DSS, they foresaw it. There was a statement posted on January 7. They foresaw it. They said that DSS people, they've been looking around trying to rearrest him. Once he's granted bail, that they were going to arrest him. They posted it on their Facebook page. But guess what? They have seen that the media war is not working, and they have not been posting since January 7. They have not posted any other statement, because they have now seen that nobody's listening. So the thing is this: it could be a lesson for anybody, whether you are a political office holder, whether you are somebody who is leading a community or even a unit or whatever. When you get into an office, try to make it better, make the institution strong, so that by the time you leave, there should be a new lease of life in that very area. But whereby you just go in, do as it pleases you, use the power the way you want, one day you'll be out of power, and all of us will be caught up in that mess that you supervise. So exactly what is happening now to Malami as we speak.
All right then, we take a break now, attend to some commercials. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
And just to let you know that a prestigious company located along Main Market, Onitsha, has vacancy for positions of a storekeeper and a marketer. Applicants are expected to possess any of the following qualifications. Could be a BSc, an HND, or an OND. To apply, all you need to do is to submit your CV at Great Mekong Global Resources Limited, located at number 9 Francis Street, Main Market, Onitsha. Or you can send your CV to Mekong Ozude, spelling MEKONOZOUDE @gmail.com. You can also call 0803 500 1471.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Mama, Papa, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, and in town, Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly, Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachichoma, Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
When you think of roofing, think of strength. When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806-416-2374 or 0706-059-6203.
ọrịa arụbara na ọrịa osinikuku akpọrọ rubella bụ ọrịa ogbu na nwayọ. Ha bụ ndị nke na-agbasa ngwa ngwa ma bụrụ nke na-akpatara mmadụ ịkpụ isi, imebi ụbụrụ isi, atụ ọpụọ, ọtụtụ mgbe na-abụ ọnwụ.
Ụbọchị ọbụla nwatakịrị ụmụafọ ala Naịjirịa nọ n'ihe egwu mana e nwere ozi ọma, ọgwụ mgbochi ga-echekwaba nwa gị. Gọọmenti Anambra Steeti bụ ndị na-achịkọba ọrụ ịgba ọgwụ mgbochi malite n'ụmụaka ndị a mụrụ ọhụrụ wee ruo n'afọ 14 nke ga-amalite site n'abalị 4 ruo abalị 15 nke ọnwa February afọ 2026 iji wechekwaba ụmụaka nọ n'ime steeti a pụọ na ya bụ ọrịa ogbu na nwayọ. Kpọga ụmụaka gị malite n'ọnwa 9 wee ruo n'afọ 14 maka ịgbagha ọgwụ mgbochi nyere ọrịa arụbara na ọrịa osinikuku akpọrọ rubella tata. Gbaa ụmụaka gị ọgwụ mgbochi ndị a niile malite n'ụbọchị a mụrụ ka. Ọ bụ na agbachanya bụ ọgwụ mgbochi ndị a ga-agakwa n'ihu wee na-agba ya n'ụlọ nlekọta ahụike niile e nwere n'ime steeti a. Ọgwụ mgbochi a dị mma ma na-arụ ọrụ gwogo. Ọ bụkwa nke a kwụrụ ụgwọ ya site n'aka gọọmenti. Ya bụ echenekwa ka agwa gị gaa n'ụlọ nlekọta ahụike ọbụla dị gị nso ma ọ bụ n'ebe a na-agbanya bụ ọgwụ mgbochi. Abụrụpụkwana nwa gị n'akụkụ. Ozi a si n'aka gọọmenti Anambra Steeti na ndị ga ha na-ejikọtara aka n'ọrụ ịgba ọgwụ mgbochi.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
I honestly don't know what it's going to take the Lagos state government to start to look at low-income earners. I don't know what it's going to even take different governments in Nigeria to consider the fact that a government is supposed to provide housing scheme for low-income earners. If I'm not mistaken, things like that exist in countries like China. Things like honestly, the Nigerian issue is beginning to give me migraine because we are talking about tax. What's it called now? Tax law. A new regime of tax laws, Tony. And then the people who pay this tax, no matter how small, are not being considered in the most basic things. And year in, year out, we have the same set of people coming out to campaign with the same reasons. I was going to tell you earlier, Franklin, when we were talking about the local government thing in Ebonyi State, and how I feel about this entire thing. How does it mean? How does it eventually become that things like that should affect the common man from the grassroots, we still have the same circle of people deciding it? How and why? How do we even move forward if we have these same issues always surrounding us? Or you can join the conversation. Put a call across to 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Good morning, you have 2 minutes.
Good morning.
Please turn down the volume on your radio sets. Good morning.
Good morning, my chief speaker. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Franklin.
Yes.
The voice of Honorable Idris the Mayor, Okutukume, Umezeleke, Auda Modi. Let me first of all say, Malami, Nemesis is fighting Malami, Kama is fighting Malami, and he has not seen something like Tolo Rizambek. Tolo Rizambek, when you said that he has not seen something, I wish you are close to me, I will give you one bottle there for that. Yes. Because this man committed many atrocities with his family, both with his wife and his children. In fact, let me join my voice with your own to say that he has not seen something. Then, being my witness yesterday, I told you when you are preempting about the kidnapping of 172 prisoners, that I'm sure that kidnapping happened. But the Nigerian government and the game that they are playing because of the lobbying have done. But now, I want to say shame to the police of Kaduna, shame to them. Because for them, a professional like them, to do this type of thing. I want to tell you, this type of thing can only happen in Africa here. If this kind of thing happens in Europe, I'm telling you, they are in for that. So, I pray that they will work assiduously to rescue our people. I think this guy said something important. Where are our securities? These people didn't fly up when they were abducted. I don't know what is wrong with Nigerian security. These people went to up to 3 or 4 churches, kidnapped. No intercession, no die. They don't have mercy in Nigeria. Thank you and God bless you so that others will come in.
Alright then, 0803-221-6973, those are the numbers to call to be a part of the conversation. Please turn down the volume on your radio set. When you do call and you have 2 minutes, go straight to the point. And just also let you know that we are live on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. That is where you can drop your comment. And so before we take some more calls, Franklin, you were going to talk about what is happening in Nnewi, especially regarding that brawl over the local government chairmanship.
Oh, well, okay. I think also Tony will also come in because at this point I think good people of Nnewi they have to put down their interests. I mean, whatever personal interest people have over there, those interests need to be put aside, and they ensure that they get to stick to the arrangement that has made them thick over years. I can't forget the story of one, trying to remember his name. There was one former member of Anambra State House Assembly who was, I have to use the word, who was destined to become the next speaker of Anambra State Assembly. But because of that arrangement, new people have that anything elected position should rotate among the 4 quarters of Nnewi, Diotolo, Umudim, Nnewi, Chi, and Uruago. But that person was denied that very chance. The moment his first tenure ended, I'm trying to remember his name. The moment his first tenure ended, he wanted to go for second term, but he was asked to respect that national arrangement, and he stepped aside. likewise, so many other persons who came before him or who had come after him, they respected it. And this time around, they now have this very issue at hand, because I think what the issue is now is how to interpret the arrangement which were written down somewhere around 1991 or thereabout, 1997. Now the issue there is that in the way the arrangement was worded, no mention was made of what a tenure is, whether it is 4 years or 2 years. No mention was made of it. So now that we now have local government system in Anambra State which stipulates only 2 years as the tenure, and the person who is now on that seat and his sympathizers are saying, for the fact that for any other person who had served in different elected positions, they took 4 years as one term, that he will also take 4 years as one term. So since he has served 2 years in the first term, he has to do another term to make it 4 years. And my question has been, if some people who came before you left after one term, there's no need to scatter the arrangement, because you want to interpret what the arrangement is as the way it's going to suit you. So at this point, I think people of Nnewi, they should be able to drop their political affiliation or whatever interest they have, and ensure that thing that makes them thick remains there. Nonso Smart, for instance.
Okay.
Nonso Smart, for instance, it was when it was time for the people of his own quarter that he came out for election, and he was able to win. And the moment he came to the third year in his first term, he knew he was not going to return. Rather, what he wanted to see, how he would be able, if he would be able to aspire for House of Rep. But he did not think about aspiring to go second term. And many other persons who have served in different capacities in that very Nnewi. So I don't know why this case is getting this kind of hit, and it's trying to divide the Nnewi along interest line. And I don't know if there's any rich man who is orchestrating it. I do not know, but if there is one, they should think about the peace of the community first before any other interest.
I want to just to add, because it's important that we speak truth to power, just like we've said many times, that this arrangement started in 1997 when the local government was structured this way. And if you look around, followed the recent developments, the present local government chairman, H.S. Anazodo, right?
Yes.
From Umudim.
Yes.
And he's the one who is rumored to be orchestrating a return. And before him, I think there was Chris Obiora. But the truth remains that I think before him there was Mbazuliki Luka. And then why he did not come back? Because many of them serve transition committee tenure. I don't know whether to call it tenure, because transition committee chairman cannot be tenured. It's just an appointment. And remember, we have not had many democratically elected local council chairmen in Anambra State. After the 1998 election, we saw another one before B2B handed over, and now we saw another one, the one Soludo brought in now. So we've had about 3 of them. So, but there had been this arrangement, just like you said, among these 4 towns. So right. I don't want to talk much about this, but they must respect it. I know Stolo is the most senior, followed by Uruago, followed by Umudim, followed by Newich. I think that's the level of their seniority. The most senior amongst them is Otolo, followed by Uruago, followed by Umudim, and then Newich. And the person who is occupying the seat is from Umudim. Otolo have had their time. Uruago followed. Umudim. Allow Newich to go on.
All right then.
It's very simple.
Okay, we go back to the phone lines now. 0803-221-6973. 0803-827-6694. Go straight to the point. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my honest speaker. Good morning, Shitum. My name is George.
Go ahead.
You see, if we are talking about national development, we must give credit to these estate developers. But at the end of the day, they are still the bigger problem that we are still facing in this country now. Because I will use Asaba as a case study. You can go a place that normally you may still land in so amount. Now they will go there and buy all the whole land and make their own gains out of what they bought the land from. You see, sometimes in Nigeria we not make everything to become a business avenue, but forgetting the poor masses. If they can even acquire those land, yes, they say that you will be paying instrumental. Is everybody that have that money to pay that instrumental? So there must be a benefit that the people are benefiting from the governor, from the government of every state. In the terms of housing, how many houses that government building for even the civil servants in a year? Can they come out and tell me how many houses that are building for civil servants in a year? But you will see them selling it like it's not just okay. Why can't you say if you are saying that you are chasing people that's under the high tension? Why can't you move them for the and to that structure with the lower mortgage, two mortgage banks, and tell them that this is a particular point. No matter the way we look at it, there are still some people that took that particular land as their own place. That some of them have been there for 8 years. Some of them will tell you that this is the place that they're born, that they don't have anywhere to go. Those people that they are chasing, because here we must say that majority of them is danger. But at the end of the day, there are still some industry in that place. So there's so large, there's so part of this in this Nigeria that we go. No matter the way the place look like, even if you go to Ajegule today, there are still some people that they will say that we are indigenous of Ajegule. Like now, we have a place like Kepi in Asabaya. If you go to Kepi, they'll see some people that are been there for years. They'll tell you that we are indigenous from this place, that this is the place that they gave birth to us, and this place we have been for over our life. Those kind of people, why are you chasing them to? So more put all those things in place. Because at the end of the day, now you chase everybody away. Next, you said the one that you said to the developers. You said the one that you said that would the one you allocate the one that you allocate to your friends. So listen, the major problem that we are facing is like that. It is that we are not rising against all these things. Like now, we are seeing them bringing their son, bringing their daughter, putting. So that means that we are not going to have a change of government. Because when you are having the same people, it's just all these things happening because we are not doing capital punishment to all these people that are stealing our money. Because we are doing capital punishment against them. That you will see at least one of your parents be executed in the crime that he committed, like this one that Malami is. They are just disturbing Malami for no reason. We know that at the end of the day, he will still come out. What happened to Dr. Kalu will happen to him. He will still come out and be moving freely all over the places. So it's a very sad situation that we find ourselves in this country.
All right. Thank you for your contribution. Let's hear what you have to say. 0803-221-6973. Hello there. Are you there? You should try to reconnect. 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Let me speak on the 100 people that is kidnapped state. That's the problem we have in this country. Because Nigeria has lost hope in this government. I wonder how 100 some sensitive people will be kidnapped and the police want to hide this kind of people from the public. If it was 50 people, and that means nobody was talking about them. If it was 20, nobody was talking about them. So that is the extent Nigeria has generated. And I ask myself, this what America is doing now, if they did not tighten it and something better for Nigeria, so pity for Christians. Because if they leave, there is nothing like Christian in Nigeria again. They will finish them. Because they are waiting now so that America will do whatever they want. This $900,000, $9 million bribe, if they finish it and they receive it and they harmonize everything the way you want to do it, a pity for Christians, because Christianity is not going to be seen again. And this is very bad. See how they are hiding 100 people from the public that is not enough. If these people are not crying heavily, nobody will recognize it again. Nobody will recognize it again. It's very bad. This country is going down every day, every day. And the care is not taking. We are no more to be. Thank you.
All right then. 0803 221 6973. Good morning. Are you there? Hello? Hello? I'm sorry, you would need to reconnect. Yes, good morning. Hello?
Thank you. Good morning, Chisom Chinedu.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tony Mbeki. I'm Franklin Ebuka.
Good
You're
morning.
welcome.
Yeah, please, I can't hear you people, but I know you are hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
This is Monday Johnson. I'm calling in from Onitsha.
Go ahead.
Franklin, please. When you were talking about what is about to see and we are about, you were trying to make some statement that looks like as if some rich men in Nnewi, whether they are the one is getting that conflict. Nnewi has been formidable as far as what they are great about Anambra policies is concerned. And you can agree with me if you have made your investigation that Nnewi has not been Apuka community. Actually, we should make deep investigation to unravel what is happening there. If the problem is not from the seat of power in Anambra, I think investigation can make more revelation on that. So, having said that, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, when we talked about the kidnap in Kaduna, and you made statements on that, and you told us what the police have said, and the report coming from international media outlets, and you say that your report, even you reiterated this morning, that the report was coming from what they heard from CAN. I want to ask the media outfit you mentioned, are they not permitted to operate with this spy satellite or intelligence satellite to unravel what is happening around the globe? Will this international media outfit depend on the people of the community to give them report of what is happening before they will be able to report it to the whole world? Because the way you fix it, it was as if you were trying to tell the people who have alleged to come up with the evidence so that the police can be convinced of what they are saying. But thank God this morning that the whole thing has reversed. The police have come up to say that the abduction was real. And I want to know, if the local media cannot operate effectively, the international media, can they have this machine to unravel certain secrets and report it to the world, not dependent on people that can easily be compromised? Because most times when we say there is 10%, 10 casualties, if you make your investigation, can be multiplied by 10 again, and that can give you up to 100. Because when the local media says 10, actually up to 100 has been a victim. So I want to summarize by asking again, that we have a media outfit that can give us something based on their spy intelligence, so Nigeria can rely on them in whatever information that is coming from those media outfits. Good morning.
All right then. Good morning, and let's head over to Facebook now.
Okay, so also Francis Namani says the federal government should endeavor to implement the ruling of Supreme Court over local government autonomy. Honestly, the third tier of government is currently under political and financial bondage. This narrative must be corrected. Master BSJ says, all that glitters is not gold. Any prominent politician or leader who is siding with criminals in society should be monitored closely. The era of repentant bandits is over. And people say from Onitsha. Ugochukwu Frank says, see the kind of country I found myself in. Incidents as huge as this. That's what government denied. Now, if people have agreed on the abduction, what's the way forward? Or are they still waiting for a screwdriver seller in Onitsha to report this once again before they can act? And this one is from Mazinwo Chikwadurum Usnachi. He says, on the Malami saga, it's a case of back to sender. It seems also to be a case of when a man crowns an hero, a king, it will rule over him. And it's a lesson to everyone who cares to learn. Bronya Kurokoga, and he posted from Onitsha. Dr. Misimo Lebra from Owerri says all that this government is good at is borrow and keep borrowing for trivialities and frivolities. How can we keep borrowing for consumption instead of production and serving rubber stamp lawmakers with jumbo allowances and the provocative remunerations? This government has succeeded in mortgaging the future of our children, and the succeeding ones through excessive borrowing with absolutely nothing to show for it. Look at Nigeria borrowing to service loans. It's certain that the managers of the economy are lost as to what to do, and we have lost confidence in them. I think I have to cut it here. Then Arinze Bartholomew, and that says he posted from Norma, and he goes on to write that I want to sincerely beg the Anambra State government to review the tenure of local government council. That 2 years tenure is too short. At least 3 years single is fair enough. And I also wish Atiku's son good luck. It's now left for the masses to decide who gets what. Okay, so let's also quickly attend to this very one. Okay, there is one, just one I'm trying to attend to here. Okay, but I think you have to move on because it's taking a longer time to get to that very post.
All right then. So is that all the comments we have? All right, Tony, what are your last words?
I think so. On the one that Johnson asked a lot of questions, but if I can picture or put his questions in one perspective, one about the international media organization, they operate independently, and media or journalism is all about speaking truth to power, investigative models. Remember, we are mandated by the Constitution under Section 22 to hold government to account at all times. So these international media organizations, they have field workers, they have foot soldiers. It's all about meeting those people who are involved in incidents, taking interviews, doing investigations, reporting. With this, that's how media operate. Nobody waits for anybody to convince anybody or to sanction anything or to tell anybody what to do. You work freely, operate freely, but you must follow the principles of journalism, ethical journalism. So it's important. If you wait for anybody that's going to tell you anything, it's based on reputation. What individual houses have been over the time built for themselves, and that's the trust we are talking about. At this much I can say. All
right then, Franklin.
Okay, so let me also add it because most of the times we are quick to blame Nigerian media that they did this, they did that. But I must tell you that if you come to the field, when you understand the dynamics of this very job, you will get to understand the challenges. Now,
absolutely,
there are some international media organizations that they are well equipped to go into places that some other persons who are not well equipped cannot go into. There are some who have health insurance, not even health insurance, life assurance. If anything happens in the course of doing the investigation, their family is covered and what have you not. Then there are some places you need to go into. You need some kind of special equipment for you to be able to make a capture, put your data. But some media houses in Nigeria don't even have that. And secondly, too, I also found out that this very thing about Western media, Nigerian media dichotomy. Sometimes you see somebody from local media going to communities to speak to the community, but they won't speak. But once they see camera from CNN, of course, they open up to that very person. Then finally, on the issue of the near within, the thing is this: like I keep on saying, either side of the divide, there are people supporting either side. There are people who are on the side of the man who wants to continue. There are also people who are on the side of people who are saying that no, your tenure is over, somebody else has to come in. But what I'm saying in essence, these people should just make recourse to that very arrangement, because for me, the arrangement is very clear. The only issue there is interpretation.